In America today, something heavy is pressing down on people over 45, and it's getting worse every single month. Rent that used to feel manageable has exploded to 1,500 hard, 2,000 and even 3,000 USD for an apartment that isn't even special. Health insurance, whether you use it or not, eats 500 to 900 USD out of your pocket like a silent tax. And groceries, the basic food you need just to survive, have jumped 30 to 40%, turning every supermarket trip into a quiet reminder that life is slipping out of control. Millions of Americans are working harder than ever, yet ending each month with the same question burning inside. How much more can I take? You've paid bills your entire life. You've sacrificed weekends, vacations, sleep, and dreams. But instead of things becoming easier as you age, it feels like your country is squeezing you tighter. But here is the truth almost no American has been told. While you're struggling to survive on 2,000 to 3,000 USD a month, there are places on this planet where 290 USD doesn't just help you live, it gives you a full, peaceful, dignified life. A room filled with sunlight, 3 fresh meals a day, a quiet street where people smile at you, healthcare that costs less than a drive-through burger, and a feeling of safety you may not have felt in years. Today we're going to 3 countries that almost never appear on travel lists or retirement guides. Not the usual suspects, not Bali, not Thailand, not Mexico. These are hidden places where rent is low, people are gentle. The landscape feels like therapy, and the visa process is so simple that you'll wonder why no one told you earlier. So sit back, let your mind open. If a part of you has been craving a life with less pressure and more peace, this video may be the moment everything shifts. Country 3. Laos, where time slows down. Morning in Laos begins with a sound you rarely hear in the United States silence. No honking, no rush, no loud ads competing for attention. Only the Mekong flowing gently, a thin layer of mist hanging over the water like silk, and the soft echo of temple bells drifting in the breeze. The smell of Lao coffee rises from small roadside stalls, a strong, rich aroma that slows your heartbeat after so many years of living under American pressure. Here, before anyone speaks, they smile. A small, slow, honest smile, as if they truly see you instead of rushing past you. Life in Laos doesn't pull you forward, it invites you to pause. And what shocks most Americans is how incredibly low the cost of living is. A clean, bright room in Luang Prabang or Vientiane costs only 120 to 180 USD per month. If you live even more simply in a local guest house or a room in a Lao family home, the price drops to 70 to 90 USD. Traditional Lao meals, sticky rice, grilled meats, papaya sala, cost just 150 to 250 USD cheaper than a soda in the US. And Lao coffee, a strong, flavorful cup, is only 0.80 to 128 USD. Wi-Fi is decent, utilities are cheap, laundry is unbelievably affordable. This is a place where spending money doesn't create stress. Every dollar you use gives you something real, something enough, something you may have forgotten exists back home. If you want to feel the true Lao rhythm, you only need to walk into the Luang Prabang night market. No shouting, no pushing, no chaos like in other tourist cities. Here, people walk slowly. They talk softly. A full plate of hot food costs only 2 to 3 USD. Warm yellow lanterns illuminate the paths. The soft sound of cooking fills the air. Strangers nod politely as they pass. For older Americans, this place feels like a deep breath, the first real breath in a long, long time. In Laos, you don't need to hurry. You don't need to fear. You just breathe, and for the first time in years, you can breathe fully. Healthcare in Laos isn't as modern as Thailand or Malaysia, but it is surprisingly accessible. Clean private clinics charge only 8 to 15 USD per visit, Pharmacies are everywhere, and medication is cheap. And if you ever need complex treatment, Thailand is just 1 to 2 hours away by bus. Udon Thani and Bangkok Hospital offer international standard care at prices far lower than the US. What matters most is that healthcare here feels reachable, not terrifying, not financially destructive. Laos is also one of the safest countries in Southeast Asia. Serious crime is almost non-existent. Laos, people speak gently, move softly, behave kindly and deeply, respect older individuals. You can walk at night without looking over your shoulder. You can leave your scooter outside without fear. You can enter any small eatery and be treated as a welcomed guest, not a wallet. Visa rules make Laos even more attractive for retirees and slow-living expats. Americans can enter with a 30-day visa on arrival. You can extend it or apply for a 60-day visa. Thousands of expats have lived in Laos for years simply by doing easy Thailand-Laos visa runs. For anyone living on pension income, staying long-term is straightforward. Laos doesn't make life difficult. It simply opens its door and smiles. Of course, nowhere is perfect. Internet can be weak at peak hours. The rainy season is long and slows life down. There are fewer malls and fewer big conveniences than Thailand or Vietnam. But these are exactly the reasons Laos stays affordable and why it keeps the calm that so many other countries have lost in the race to modernize. This is what makes Laos special. It doesn't demand that you change, and it doesn't try to change you. Laos simply invites you to live slower, lighter, and more honestly. 290 USD. In the US, buys a few fast food meals, but in Laos, 290 USD buys an entire month of peace, full, gentle, and quiet as breath. A life you may have lost somewhere between bills and stress in America, and a life you can find again right here. Country: Morocco. The Arab breath of Africa. Morning in Morocco has a very distinct rhythm, not dramatic, not noisy, but quietly alive. In the Medina, that first golden sunlight hits the whitewashed walls and makes them glow as shopkeepers lift their shutters for the day. The smell of fresh Cobb's warm bread, just pulled from the stone oven, mixes with the sharp, refreshing scent of mint. From a distance, the call to prayer rises gently over the rooftops, not demanding your attention, just reminding you that the day has begun. A cart rolls by with a soft metallic clink. A scooter hums through the alley, but never at a reckless speed. Nothing here feels rushed. Everything feels like it has its own space. What surprises most newcomers is that Morocco is not just beautiful, it's surprisingly affordable. If you stay outside the busy centers of Marrakesh or Fes, a clean room in a quiet neighborhood costs only 130 to 170 USD per month. If you prefer the breeze of the Atlantic Ocean, small studios in Agadir or Essaouira range from 150 to 200 USD, calm, bright, and perfect for someone who wants a slower life but still close to the sea. A full Moroccan meal, tagine simmered with vegetables, couscous with tender chicken, or a bowl of hearty harira costs only 1.50 to 2 USD. A glass of mint tea, the drink of hospitality here, is just 50 to 70 cents. Groceries are incredibly cheap, a few dollars for fresh vegetables, chicken lentils, olive oil, and warm bread. Living here doesn't feel like budgeting. It feels like breathing easier every time you pay for something. But what makes Morocco memorable isn't just the prices, it's the people. Moroccans are warm, polite, and carry a quiet dignity that makes older foreigners feel respected rather than invisible. There's a cultural habit here: when you sit down for mint tea, people talk to you. Not with suspicion, not with formality, but with curiosity and warmth. 5 minutes of conversation, and suddenly you're exchanging life stories. Tea isn't just a drink here. It's an invitation. It's a bridge. It's how strangers become friends. Healthcare is another pleasant surprise. Private clinics are clean, professional, and far cheaper than in America. A typical consultation costs 12 to 20 USD. Dental care, which is famously expensive in the US, is shockingly affordable and high quality in Morocco. And for complex medical needs, Casablanca has international standard hospitals with English-speaking staff. For most retirees, the combination of low daily costs and accessible healthcare removes the financial stress they've carried for decades. Safety is something many Americans worry about before coming, but Morocco is far safer than its media reputation. Yes, in tourist-heavy areas, you'll find overpricing or persistent vendors. But they're not aggressive, and a polite smile with a gentle shake of the head is enough. Outside the tourist zones, especially in small towns or seaside villages, life is peaceful. Children play in the alleys, neighbors greet each other by name, and evenings are calm enough for long walks without fear. For many retirees, the safety they feel in these towns is greater than what they felt back home. Visa rules make Morocco unexpectedly convenient for Western retirees. Americans, Canadians, and Europeans can stay for 90 days without a visa. When the 90 days are up, many simply take a short ferry to Spain or a quick flight to a nearby country, then return to reset the stay, an easy and common practice. Those who decide to stay long-term often apply for residency after 1 or 2 years of stable living, and the process is far simpler than in many European countries. Of course, Morocco has its weaker points. Summers can be brutally hot, especially in Marrakesh and inland cities where temperatures reach 40 degrees C. Street vendors can be persistent, though. No thank you, with a smile, solves the issue quickly. And if you expect Western-style perfection everywhere, Morocco will remind you gently that it follows its own rhythm, not yours. But none of these challenges overshadow the comfort, affordability, and cultural richness that Morocco offers. And this leads to the truth about Morocco. It is a country where life feels grounded, real, honest. You don't need luxury to live well here. You only need to live at the pace Morocco naturally gives you. A slower pace, a clearer mind, a softer kind of time. If you want to live inside a gentle Arab melody with incredibly low costs, Morocco is where time itself feels like it softens around you. Country. Bolivia, where everything is so cheap, it feels unreal. Bolivia greets you with landscapes that many people believe exist only in documentaries. Sucre, the white city, shines under the sun like a painting carved from plaster. Its small cobblestone streets lead you through centuries of preserved history. In Chimore, the clouds drift lazily across mountain peaks, so close you feel you could reach out and touch them. And Lake Titicaca, deep blue and calm, said to hold the spirit of the entire Andes, gives off a serene energy that makes you want to stand still and simply look. Everything here blends into a strange yet soothing feeling, foreign but familiar, as if the world in this place moves slower and softer than everywhere else. What shocks most Americans from the very first days is the cost of living so cheap it's almost unbelievable. A spacious, clean apartment in Sucre or Tarija, two of the safest and most pleasant cities in Bolivia, costs only 120 to 160 USD per month. If you want to save even more, a small room in a local home costs 70 to 100 USD, with enough light, enough comfort, and enough quiet to hear birds in the morning. A full local meal costs only 1.5 to 2.20 USD. At a small restaurant, a generous plate of hot food is just 3 to 4 USD. A taxi ride across town is 1 to 2 USD. And internet, while not the fastest, is only 15 to 20 USD per month. This is one of the rare countries where spending money doesn't trigger anxiety. Every dollar you use gives you something meaningful. But the place that makes most newcomers say wow is the local markets. Vegetables are so cheap, it makes first-timers stop to double-check a large bag full of tomatoes, potatoes, onions, and greens costs only 2 to 3 USD. Highland fruits are clean, sweet, and inexpensive bananas, mangoes, papayas, melons, sold by gentle farmers, wearing cloth hats, smiling as they toss in an extra fruit, just because. Here, food isn't just food. It reflects a lifestyle, simple, honest, and close to the earth. Healthcare in Bolivia is also far easier and cheaper than people expect. A private checkup costs only 10 to 15 USD with no endless paperwork and no long lines. Medicines are 60 to 70% cheaper than in the US, making monthly healthcare spending incredibly manageable. For more complex cases, Chile and Argentina are just a few hours away off countries with strong healthcare systems that are still far cheaper than American hospitals. For many older Americans, the feeling of having accessible healthcare without drowning in bills is a true relief. Safety is another big positive that few people know about. Small cities like Sucre or Cochabamba are peaceful enough that you can walk at night without looking over your shoulder. Violent crime is low, usually only rare petty theft if you leave things unattended, and even that is uncommon. Bolivians live slowly, simply, and with a quiet kindness typical of the Andes, not loud, not showy, but sincere. They see you as a person, not a wallet. They talk to you kindly, ask where you're from, and smile genuinely when you say from the United States. When it comes to visas, Bolivia is a bit different from Laos or Morocco. US citizens do need a visa, but it is not difficult to obtain. At first, you get 30 days, then you can extend it to 90 days without major complications. Many expats, after a few months of living here, apply for residency, and Bolivia doesn't make the process hard. It's straightforward, reasonably priced, and local authorities are familiar with helping foreigners settle in. Of course, Bolivia has its downsides. One of the biggest is altitude. Cities like La Paz or Potosí sit extremely high above sea level, making it hard for newcomers to breathe at first. That's why most expats choose Sucre or Tarija, where the climate is mild, the altitude is comfortable, and the air is clean. Infrastructure here isn't as developed as in other South American countries, but for those seeking a simple, slow, stress-free life, this becomes part of the charm. And finally, there's a truth that everyone who stays long enough eventually learns Bolivia is one of the rare places on Earth where 290 USD a month is not only enough, it's more than enough for you to live slower, deeper, and fuller. No pressure, no rush, no noise chasing you every day. Just the gentle rhythm of life in the Andes and the feeling that you've stepped out of the expensive grind of the United States into a new chapter, calmer, kinder, and closer to what truly matters. If you're tired of a life where you pay 2,000 to 3,000 USD every month just to survive, if you're exhausted from waking up to bills waiting for you before the sun even rises, if you've spent years in a rhythm where everything costs more than your heart can carry, then maybe this is the moment you need to hear a different truth. The world still has places where 290 USD doesn't just help you live, it helps you come alive again. Somewhere beyond the borders of the United States, there are still lands where you can breathe without fearing the end of the month, where food is cheap but clean, where people are gentle, where healthcare doesn't break you, and where time doesn't run against you, it walks with you. 290 USD buys back the peace you thought you'd lost. 290 USD buys back the health you believed you could no longer afford. 290 USD buys back time, the very thing modern life has been taking from you, piece by piece for years. The three countries today, Laos, Morocco, and Bolivia, each carry their own beauty, their own rhythm, their own quiet invitation for those who are tired of America's expensive grind. But only you can decide where the next chapter of your life will be written. So let me ask you one question, a question that might change everything. Laos, Morocco, or Bolivia, Which one will be the next chapter of your life? If this video touched you, if it opened a door you never knew existed, hit like to support the channel, subscribe, so you don't miss the next journey. And comment the country you want me to cover next. There are still many beautiful, peaceful, affordable places waiting for you. I'll see you on the next journey.